This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill, 99.9 KISW.
All right. Do we have the one and only Tim Harrison on the line?
Hey, that's me.
Tim, how are you, man?
Doing okay. How about you guys?
We're doing wonderful, man.
Hey, Tim, the first question, just right out of the bat, what technically is your title? We're called like the animal catcher, the wild animal tamer. What do you call yourself?
Well, I got to call it a lot of names, but the one thing I like to call myself, I'm just director of outreach for animals, an organization of cops, firemen, paramedics, and emergency doctors and things like that, trying to get together, trying to keep dangerous, exotic animals out of people's houses. But that's probably the nicest thing I'm called.
What's more wild and crazy, a kid in Columbus on meth or like a Egyptian cobra? Because you used to be a police officer.
Yeah, human beings are way farther dangerous than any animals can possibly be to anybody. Because you just never know what they're going to do. But you get closer to chimpanzees now. You get a kid on meth and chimpanzee, like it happened out there in Connecticut. Hey, I'd take the kid on meth any day. My face.
Yeah. Thank you for making that. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. Did you have a friend who passed on because of this?
Yeah, I had a couple. I had one was killed by a rhino viper. A Dayton firefighter from Dayton, Ohio, was killed by a rhino viper bite. And I had to go in and catch that snake out of his house after he passed on. It was a very sad and traumatic experience, dangerous experience.
Well, he had it as a pet.
Yeah, he had it in his home. And then the other one was a Ted Drees, a gentleman from Cincinnati who is huge guy, 6'4" construction worker, and he was killed by a Burmese python, constricted to death by it.
How big was that thing?
That was close to 13 feet. That was a horrible way to die.
This movie that's coming out, The Elephant in the Living Room, we know it's a documentary. We know it follows you around. But what are some of the things that people are going to see? Like just some of the more unbelievable situations that you have to deal with?
Well, the one right off the bat is the close to 1,800-pound mountain lion cougar was loose in downtown Dayton, Ohio, chasing the Dayton police officers. But that thing was running, chasing after a Dayton police officer. I had to throw a bull rope. I couldn't wait for the dart rifle. Threw a bull rope around it, lassoed it, flipped end over end. It popped out, charged me, leaped in the air with claws and teeth snarling coming right at me.
So what do you do?
Right in the mouth with a dog snare, and flipped it down and held it down. You'll see it on the film. I snared it, and then I had to carry it by its tail and the snare in its mouth out to the animal control van. You'll see the pictures. It's an amazing sight. That cougar peed all over me, and I felt like doing the exact same thing, guys. I felt like just peeing my pants.
Yeah, Tim, I was going to ask you, obviously you're a professional. You did what you did. You got this thing down. But at the moment you see this big-ass cat with claws out, teeth snarling, and you're thinking, okay, I just got to get this over its mouth. But what is the other thought in your head? I mean, is your light flashing before your eyes? You're like, all right, this is it. I'm going to give it a go, but they're going to have to shoot this thing.
It's funny you just say that, because at the time I don't think that. I think just get the job done, and later on my hands will shake.
Right, man.
Later on down the road, I think, what the hell am I doing?
I was going to say, do you ask yourself, like, you go home, you look at yourself in the mirror, and you go, wait a minute, what the hell am I doing every day?
Yeah,
have I lost my goddamn mind? Why am I lassoing a tiger?
Because nobody else is. And the sad part about
There's a reason why no one else is.
So actually, I can't lie to you. I wish
like my wife now.
Well, lassoing a tiger just sounds cool, man.
Right. Well,
Tim, it sounds cool.
So Tim, in this case, this was someone's pet. In Washington State, we have cougars that are wild, and the last thing you want to do is walk up on one or be in an area where there is one. That and bears and grizzlies and all that. But But there shouldn't be a cougar in Dayton, Ohio. Maybe London.
No. Lots of big tigers and things. But the sad part about that is the ones that the most dangerous exotic animals are the ones that know humans' limitations. They grow up with you. They know how slow you are. They're not scared of you. I'd rather run into a wild one than the one that somebody's raised in their home.
Right. Wild one doesn't know what you are, so maybe it backs off. The one in the home's like, you slow, stupid.
And how many instances have there been about that animal just waiting patiently to go ahead and devour its keeper? I mean, are there a lot of those stories?
There's more, not just devour them, but seriously injure them. You don't get all the statistics. Nobody's keeping the statistics correctly nowadays, but a lot of people are getting hurt especially by big cats and bears, and especially chimpanzees. So lots of chimpanzees. That's my scariest animals, chimpanzees.
No,
thank you.
Oh yeah, because man, they go for the males. For us, they go for the face and they go for the genitalia of the male. A guy out here in California got his face ripped off, and they go for the genitalia. In the wild, they take the man's genitalia off so the other chimps can't reproduce. And I'd rather keep my junk. I'm not in the mood to I won't pass on this one, even though I've caught quite a few chimps. They're very dangerous animals.
I would lose my face before my junk.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Because I can still pay for sex if I have to.
How are they ripping off faces? Are their nails that sharp?
It's not the nails, it's the teeth. They grab you. This gentleman out here is 6'5". He weighs 300 pounds. He's a huge man, strong man. This chimpanzee was 120 pounds that got him. Grabbed him by both wrists, grabbed him by both legs with his feet, and ripped his face off with its huge canines. Most of the ones you see on TV, they have their canines removed. All you see is their regular teeth. They got huge canines. They rip the face off, bite off the fingers, and they go for the genitalia on the males.
So how many God damn, man.
That is scary.
I mean, that's just, you bite my face off and then you rip off my testicles? I mean, come on, man. Do
and
one or the other.
bite your fingers.
Right. So...
Yeah, but that's the same thing that happened to that woman up in Massachusetts with a Vicodin or whatever she was giving her chimpanzee that ripped off her friend's
wine
face.
And Vicodin. Yeah, you don't want to mix wine and Vicodin with a human being.
No. Well, maybe with your wife you want to get laid, but
Plus,
not with a
I would be
chimpanzee.
scared. Like, if this chimp, he might be nice after a beer, but what happens after 6?
I mean, think about your friends. Your friend is good for 3 beers. After 4th, next thing he's crying on your shoulder and calling his mother.
And you bring up a good point here, Tim. The animals, obviously, their primary goal is to escape.
Yes.
They're trying to escape captivity. So it doesn't matter if it's
otherwise they just want to survive.
It could be in your home, it could be in a zoo, but ultimately they just want to go home.
Yeah, that's why I was bringing up about the Bronx Zoo. They lost their cobra. The San Francisco Zoo lost their tiger. These are experts, let alone people. I had a guy had a cobra in an aquarium like you put your fish into in an apartment building down in Cincinnati. He put a piece of cardboard over the top with duct tape. You think that thing's going to stay in there? Heck no.
What is the most popular exotic pets as far as being dangerous? I mean, is it big cats? Is it the chimpanzees?
No,
is it the
venomous snakes? Venomous snakes.
And
Very
what is it?
popular.
People
How
think
can that
they
be?
can.
Yeah.
Is it that people they look at the size of it and they feel like if I really get into trouble, maybe I can wrangle it or something like that?
They get like a basket from the Pier 1 imports and they think they need to put a snake in it. Yeah, exactly.
Get a flute and play it. But the thing is that it's easy to get. It's just like cigarettes, like you on the movie Thank You for Not Smoking.
Yeah.
They're cheap, they're easy to get, and they're habit forming. Because once you get a venomous snake, you got to get another one.
And look,
They're like
both of
quarters.
them will kill you. But if you told me you smoke one cigarette, you die in 5 minutes, I go, you know what? I'm not going to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah. Well, the snakes, it's easy to get, and they want to get. And they're watching these TV shows. It's supposed to be educational TV. Well, it's teaching people the wrong thing. You'll hear a doctor on the documentary even say it. But what kids see is their entertainment. It all is. They use as TV props. They just jump around with them, they play with them, and they wrestle them and all this stuff. And that's not what it's like. In real life, these animals, you ain't going to wrestle a crocodile. You ain't going to wrestle.
Have you ever had to jump on the back of an alligator or a crocodile before?
Yeah, I do a lot of alligators and crocodiles strictly because of the Crocodile Hunter show. Over the years, 2003 was my record-breaking year. 19 alligators in the Dayton, Ohio area, 10 in Cincinnati. That was 29 in just one area, more than they had in Florida producing alligators. Either turned loose or people calling me. 4 Nile crocodiles and a caiman all in one year.
That's what I was going to say. It's too cold to have those animals in Ohio, so you'd have to be keeping them in captivity in your home.
What do people think are going to happen? I mean, Miles made the point earlier. It's like, your buddy comes and says, hey, man, here's a baby alligator. Maybe you think it's cute. Maybe it looks like dinner. But you do recognize that at some point, 2 years from now, it's not going to look like this, man. In fact, it's going to be the only living goddamn dinosaur on Earth in your house. Yeah. Why would you think that's a good idea?
Because they see their heroes do it. It's a monkey see, monkey do thing. Because everybody we interviewed, everybody we talked to, why did you get this animal? Oh, my son wanted to get it like Steve Irwin, or he wanted to do like you on TV shows.
They know what happened to Steve Irwin, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. Everybody was against me over the years have been dropping dead. So the whole thing is I'm trying to get it to another level where we just leave the animals alone. Have that gentle distance between the wild animals and us. Give them that space that they need. We don't need to drag them in our homes and think we can own these things because the wild instinct in them, it's like a time bomb. If you're signing a death warrant when you bring a dangerous exotic animal in your home, one of you is going to die, and usually it's the animal.
And you're like the Jim of Mutual Omaha's Wild Kingdom. They send you to the worst places, right. And then you got to deal with the crap. Like and
then someone else will talk about it. Wow, look at him go.
Yeah, Tim, the other guy in the film that they feature in the documentary, his name is Terry Brumfield.
Yes.
And he's a guy who is overcoming depression through a close connection with his pet African lion. Were you able to talk to this guy or meet him?
Yep, that's a part of the movie. It takes off. Mike Weber, the film director, actually does a beautiful job on this film. That's why it's won so many awards. Is that it takes off, follows me, what I do, takes off and follows Terry and his lions. He has 2 big African lions. One escapes on the interstate and attacks cars on the interstate. You hear the 911 call on that one.
Jesus.
He's actually attacking cars on the interstate, 500 pounds plus. So we kind of collide with each other halfway through the movie. And that's when it gets real interesting. That's when it really gets interesting. That's why I tell people to see this movie. It's an emotional roller coaster ride, but it's well worth it.
Yeah, the SirCritic.com says it's a must-see. Slashfilm says the best. Even Michael Moore likes it.
Yeah, Michael Moore said it's perfect.
Hey, Tim, we want to talk to you a little bit more. It says a woman in Dayton stepped out of her van into an escaped Egyptian cobra.
Yeah, that's been a few years ago. She stepped out. She actually pulled into the driveway. It's not her snake. Somebody got away from somebody else. She had her groceries in hand, steps out of her van, and steps on the cobra, 6 foot. She throws her groceries in the air, runs in the house, tells her husband there's a cobra in the garage. Well, he thinks it's a black rat snake or a king snake. He comes out with a stick, a little broom or something. He starts to poke it. It pops up. It's a cobra. They have the police come and everything else. They're hitting. It's always the cops and the firemen are always the ones that show up. Just like in San Francisco, it's 2 cops had to come take care of that tiger.
Okay.
They go in and they hit it with a fire extinguisher. They're trying to keep this cobra in this garage. This time there's a crowd of about 400 people around the garage. But they can't shoot it. So they had to wait till my brother and I to show up, and we ended up coming and catching the snake. It was quite a startler. And nobody ever raises their hand and say, "Hey, can I have my cobra back?"
I think I would have lit my house on fire and called it a day. By the way, is anyone taking the time to look at the odds of living in Ohio, stepping out of a vehicle, and stepping on top of an Egyptian cobra?
That's very strange.
You've got a better chance of winning the Powerball 7 times in a week. What are some of the what animals have done the most damage to you? I mean, you've dealt with snakes, you've dealt with the chimpanzees. I'm assuming you still have your testicles and a face, so we know a chimp is not taken out. But I mean, have you been bitten by a large cat or scratched? Have you been bitten by these poisonous snakes or anything else? Any other weird things that you had to deal with?
No, I've never been bitten or mauled yet. I get nipped every once in a while by something dragging something out from underneath there. But I heard you guys' show's called The Men's Room, so I had to. One of the stories out of my books was a gentleman was sitting on his toilet in his apartment.
Oh, Ted.
I get this now, reading the paper, minding his own business, and somebody's neighbor's 13-foot albino white python crawled down through the wall, came out through one of the holes next to where the pipe was, next to his toilet, not through the pipe, but next to it, crawled across his feet while he was sitting on the toilet reading the paper. The good part was he was already on the toilet, so he didn't mess up his pants or anything like that. But when I got called there, he was freaking out.
Wouldn't you be?
Yeah, absolutely. I got years of experience with snakes, and I would still freak out.
Well, the albino ones look weird.
I got to tell you, that story, man, I'm not going to be able to poop for 2 weeks because I have a huge fear of snakes. I'm going to be checking every 2 minutes.
The movie, by the way, once again, is called The Elephant in the Living Room, just like you would say, theelephantinthelivingroom.com, and that'll be at Regal Meridian on April 15th, and as you say, there'll be showings all day, so go to the website. I'm sure they'll have more information if you're interested in going down there. Tim, we hope to talk to you again someday. We hope you're still around.
Hope I keep my junk. That's the whole
man,
thing.
absolutely. All right, Tim Harrison, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, guys. Be careful.
All right,
there
now.
You go.
Yeah,
I'm scared.
Ohio.
We got some text about him, all right? So this first text I'm going to read says, guys, a fantastic interview. Well done, guys. Thanks. That's Tim and P. Wallop. I don't care what he says.
Those are both Tims.
Says, I don't care what he says. I want a polar bear, and I will name him Snowflake. And then his final one, Miles says, after all this chimp talk, I'm thinking of switching from a shark
to
a chimp. That's right.
He doesn't know that's why there's nothing to, if you
it rips off your testicles.
You can get like a tiger fish.
Over.
You get like a tiger fish in a saltwater tank. That thing will kill you in a second. But as long as
it will not rip off your testicles.
But nobody. Okay, maybe one day
it'll bite your leg off. It will bite your arm off. But a shark does not go for the testicles.
I'm going to get a goddamn great white shark tank in my house.
Yeah, death in a second isn't that bad compared to having your face and your testicles ripped off.
Thank you.
Clearly way worse.
And what is more badass, to walk around without junk in a face or to have a huge scar on your side from a great white taking a half?
Dude, Miles, I was with you on great white 100% until today.
Okay.
After I heard that Tim guy talk about...
You didn't know that's what happened. That's what happened to that woman in Massachusetts.
But I was dead honest. I didn't know how they ripped off the face. And then when he said a 6 foot, whatever, 300-pound man... 120-pound chimp. So what did he say? Stomped on his feet to lock him down, held his wrist, and then ate his face off, ate his fingers off, and then ate his junk off. Mm-hmm. That's the goddamn devil.
This is drinking time, Ted.